Well, you know what you're describing, and I would tell you this, and I don't think people think of it. So, if you really think about it, every generation hope and pray, quote unquote. Let me say this. Every generation should have an expectation to make the
Right,
next generation better. So if we are coming to this knowledge and knowing what our parents are not providing us, and we know that at a young age, that means that parent set some foundation to make you smarter than what they was taught.
right,
But I guess that's how does us as kids communicate that though? Because when we talk about, well, I want to say kids, especially that normally happens between 12 and like 17, that middle school to high school age. You're expecting the parents to provide something that's never been provided for them. And you're giving better opportunities. You're giving better, support than that they was given. Like, how do you make, let's, I want to say, I wanted to bring that up because if anybody decides to listen to this, children at that age, 12 to 17, need to understand. And I think that's the importance of learning history.
right,
When you learn history, you learn how to move within the future. Meaning that if you learn your parents' history, if you sit down and talk with them and value where they come from, you'll see where they put you in a position with the resources and the knowledge that they had. So it could be you could be living in a better generation right now, but you're mad because you feel like you could have been 10 times better. But if you look at from where your parents moved to where you moved, it is a good step.
right.
How like I just want to make that a point because I don't think kids recognize that.
Well, when you put it that way, then it starts to become, I don't think it becomes more difficult, but I think it becomes more challenging because you got to be able to expand your mind that far to come up with that analogy.
But ain't that the whole purpose of education? You going
Yeah,
to
that
school,
is.
we in the school system, we trying to sit down and learn. But if you're not trying to learn while you're in that school, it becomes a problem.
It does. And I can say that because I was one of those kids. I'm
What you
not afraid.
mean?
I'm not afraid to say it.
What you
I'm
mean? You
one
what,
of those
what,
kids.
one of those kids that what?
I went to school to play football. I didn't go to school to learn. I can say that. I can say I'm not. I'm not
Okay.
embarrassed to say that. I probably would be embarrassed to say that when I was in school, but not now because I'm starting to see more of kids that's like that. But that's
Mm,
also one of the reasons why I started my mentor group because I see that it, between that peak of seventh grade and ninth grade, and I can only speak for the young men because that's who I mentor.
mm,
I've seen 10, 15 of me's. So I figure since I'm a little closer to the age, I'm a little younger, I see you going down the same road I went down. Let me
mm.
pull you in and let me teach you and show you because my perspective and your parents' perspective is gonna be different. Your parent gonna tell you, "Oh, you ain't never gonna do this, you're never gonna do that," but I'm gonna teach you how to do it the right way because I've done it.
Mm,
I've taken my education for granted until it was time to really take it serious.
mm.
I took it serious when I needed to take it serious, but then when I thought about it, when I got to my junior year in high school, I said I should have took my education serious when I first got here.
Your freshman year.
I should have laid the foundation early.
Mm.
And if I needed to play catch up, I could. But see, now it's not even playing catch up anymore. It's playing catch up, and you got to finish.
Because you still
So
got
it's
more
like,
life to live.
yeah. So it's like that's why I tell these kids, education is more than important because as the world keep progressing, it's gonna become more and more things. Like for instance, I was talking to one of the boys and they was asking me help for math. I couldn't even help them because I didn't even know what was going on. I ain't been out of school that long, but it's like,
The math has changed.
yeah, it's like everything is changing because it's like I remember the first step. Then they got to the second step. I was like, I don't know. Hey, hold on, I'm gonna call you right back. I'm gonna make a couple phone calls right quick. I'm gonna get you some help, but there's
But
nothing I can do.
but you ever thought about, when you were sitting in the steps, sitting in the school, and when you were sitting there, you was like, man, I'm never gonna need to know this again.
Right.
And now here you are trying to mentor other kids.
And now I need to know that.
It's not, well, hold on. You don't need to know it. You want to know it so you can empower them.
Right.
And it's, I'm telling you, it's crazy that you say that because you never know where you're gonna be when you sitting in them chairs in high school. You never know where you're gonna be.
Because I think in high school, we do what we do is we paint this picture of our life,
Hmm.
and we expect our life to go the exact same way we paint the picture.
Hmm.
And when life does not go that way, then that's when different things start to happen inside your brain. You start to get discouraged. You start to do things that you know you're not supposed to be doing. Start to hang with the wrong crowds. That's when you become a liability.
Mm. I
Because
like.
and for y'all who's watching, he taught me about liability and assets. And that's why he said, "Oh," because he taught me that when I was 10 years old. I would never forget. He taught me this to the liability and asset. So I would thank you for that. But yes, you become
Well,
a
so let me ask you this question. I'm gonna get real personal. When we on the topic of accountability as a parent.
right,
Now, I'm not gonna sit up here and put anybody else on blast.
right, right.
If you talk about love, and I want to know the answer to this question.
Okay,
Um, a lot of people that's watching this don't know that my nephew, but you're my nephew through marriage.
right,
So blood, no, but my wife, you are blood, but not necessarily me. So I'm kind of like the uncle-in-law, I guess you could say.
right.
So as being an uncle-in-law to Jaquan Fripp, would you say I did a good job of trying to display love to you, or do you feel like there were some improvements that I could have done? This is what we talk about accountability, and I want
Right,
to know where that accountability lie with me and
right.
going forward. I know you probably ain't thought about it, but and then I'm gonna tell you on your accountability to me. All right, go ahead, and you gotta answer the question.
Okay. So I would say yes. The
Okay.
reason why
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I would say yes is when I developed the relationship that I have with you, it came at a very pivotal time in my life. And I might not agree with all with all of the strategies and the teachings that you came up with.
Okay, tell me about it. No hold back.
Okay.
We talking about accountability.
Right.
Don't hold back.
So, y'all, for who's gonna be watching, I'll tell y'all the truth because me and him already know the truth.
We,
I
your truth. Go ahead.
right. I I called my Uncle David and I told him that I was going to middle school and that I needed to be in tip top shape. I needed to be this great athlete.
Okay.
Well, they said, y'all be careful what you ask for. Because when I got up there, by day two, I wanted to come back home and quit. Because he was like, okay, you want to be trained like a top athlete? You want to be treated like one? I'm going to teach you like one. So, when you actually like do something like that, you thinking they going to let you warm up to it. Man, y'all, the first day I was up there, I was up 4:30 in the morning. Sleepy, gotta brush my teeth, gotta be ready by 5. gotta go, gotta go run the track, go run a mile. Like it's a routine. You gotta work out like 3, 4 times a day.
Hold on.
I was,
How old were you again at this
y'all,
age?
I was like 12 or 11.
You're about 12.
I
Okay.
was like 12 or 11. But at the time, I didn't appreciate it because I couldn't understand why am I going this hard at 11 and 12. But when I got back to where I live and started playing, man, y'all, I'm not trying to be cocky or arrogant. I was running circles around people because I wasn't ready. My body and my mind wasn't ready used to everything the coach was trying to throw at me because he had mentally prepared me and physically prepared me for everything that I've asked for. And then as I progressed, as you know, as I started going deeper in life, he made sure he stayed connected with me. He would tell me if I would ask him something, he would tell me the truth. He would never water it down. He would tell me what I want to hear. I think most of my heated conversations come from this guy right here. And some of the conversations I wish I've never asked.
Mhm.
But it helped me improve as a person because it makes you think. Like it challenges you mentally. So that is the reason why I say yes. Because I don't think you've ever lied to me. You told me what I need to know and not what I want to hear. And I appreciate that. Like, I really do appreciate that. Because I did have a lot of male figures growing up. So for you to, step in and, try to teach me, how to teach me how to be right mentally and train me physically, that meant a lot to me growing up. Of course, I wouldn't have told you nothing like that then because I didn't like the way you was doing it. But now, because I'm older and I see the progress in it, I really do appreciate it, though.
Listen, I'm telling you, I could have sworn that majority of the time y'all hated my guts. I'm telling you, your brother, Genesis, but I guess I just had I had a certain standard. I would say this, you know, um, that y'all as being young or being kids or whatnot, like I still believe in that respect factor, meaning that you're gonna respect me as an adult, but I want to make sure that I didn't disrespect you all, but I gave y'all the time and the attention, like the one-on-one time.
Right,
Kind of like if we were sitting up here having this conversation, I felt like that was so much that was needed because me growing up, I didn't have one-on-one time with an adult anything. In the time that I did have it, it wasn't great examples. I had some of my uncles would give me beer and all this other type of stuff. But I want to make sure that I spent that appropriate time with you and with y'all, teaching y'all the right things. And some of the times y'all always push back on me, and I didn't care. You're like, you can get mad at me, everything. I said, you can get mad at me all day, you know, for me holding the fort or being respectful, but I wasn't gonna be disrespectful you, but we was gonna have a good time.
right,
I was gonna yell at you. I was gonna get you right, but we was gonna go to the park. We was gonna go to New Orleans. We was gonna go to
right,
wherever we can do to have a great time outside of that. But it was the expectation that I understood that you all were children, and that was just part of the process. So I didn't take it personal with you all, But I just felt like I never had that, and I wanted to make sure.
right,
I set that foundation of one, me understanding what love is. And love is, I guess, patient. Love is kind. And love is, I always say unconditional.
right,
So this, like, to give you all that and maybe not get that in return, and I didn't take it personal because it's like it's something that I've never had, and I just had to self teach myself. So, but I appreciate that. But you didn't tell me the bad part. That was all good. Sound like it was all good to me. I take it in. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It makes
Well, the bad parts was it challenged me. I think to me, the bad parts was me second guessing what I want to do
okay.
because I wanted to be this really good athlete. And by the teachings you were doing and the way you were pressing, it challenged me and made me think and made me ask myself,
This
do
ain't
I
what I want to do.
yeah, like, is this really what I want to do? Like, is it going to require and take all of this? So
I like
mentally,
that. I really do like that. I
yeah,
I
so
never thought about that. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
so mentally, like I'm sitting in the room and your kids, my cousins, they out in the living room playing, and they like, "Why I'm not in the room?" And they like, "You mad?" And it's like, I'm not mad. I'm thinking like, is this really
Oh
what I want
man.
to do? I've asked for this, but do I have the mental capacity to even deal with this? Because
Oh
if
wow.
yeah, if you asking me to do this now,
Oh wow.
and you telling me this is how my coaches and this is how my teachers are going to act when I don't respond the way. So I thought about that, but I never said anything because I figured that it has to be a reason for you doing this. Like you Being is hard on me. You
Yeah,
teaching me,
yeah,
and
yeah.
now because I'm older, I understand. But back then, I thought about all of that. Like I really thought about. Well, I don't think so. I don't think this is for me. I don't. I don't think so.
You know, and I guess as you're telling me, I always think about like accountability is really, especially with the people that you love, is really taking what you say and figuring out is there a better solution to it. And as you're
Right.
t- and as you're talking, I just gotta and being honest, I got accustomed that I was dealing with my kids, and I
Right.
and my kids are already conditioned this way. So
Right.
with dealing with you, one of the things that as you say that, we can't go back. I wish I would have did. This is me taking accountability, and this is something that I'm learning going forward. So is that me understanding that if I take my niece and nephew, this is a new environment to them. And when I do this thing, I need to bring them back to me and sit down and have that conversation and ask you how you feel about it. To
Right.
provide you with feel like a safe space where you can tell me, how do you feel about this? Do you think I'm going too hard? Do I need to ease back? It just really make it to where that we can have those conversations and it's not a think tank is like, because when I saw you, I saw a person that I already thought was a top tier athlete.
Right.
Already thought that you was gonna perform better than my kids
Right.
because my kids weren't the most athletic, but they just worked out with me and they got accustomed to it.
Right.
And it was a different style, but that'd be something that I always take into mind for next anytime I pick up another niece or nephew or
Right.
have them come to me. But I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that, man. I'm mad you waited this long to tell me. But we never asked like great topic, the meaning of
Right.
love. It
Right.
just talking it out loud actually, I guess brings out different things. So let me ask you this question, and we'll both discuss it. So the question talks about do you think the lack of parent love affects adult relationships?
Oh. I. Oh. Oh. I would say yes.
Hmm.
The
Would you
reason
say
why,
no?
huh?
Would you say yes and no, or would you just stick with
I
yes?
would say yes and no.
Okay.
The reason why I would say yes is because what you're taught as a kid, it always shows up. Just like I told you earlier, it always shows up again when you become an adult. But the problem is, we think that the things that we go through as a child, it will never come back to us. But for me, being like a man, for instance, not being able to communicate, not being able to, compromise, those are things that I think that when you are not loved properly as a kid, it comes back to backfire on you as an adult.
Mm.
Because as a kid, when you don't get those things right, you can complain about it, and eventually they should teach you, or they will teach you. But when you're an adult and you're in the world don't care,
Expect you to know
right? They expect you to know. You say you grown, you want to be grown, well, you should be able to operate
as an
and
adult.
act like an adult. So the reason why I would say no is because like I just said, if you say you're an adult and you're supposed to be an adult, people calling you an adult, you should be able to make adult decisions.
Mm.
And a lot of people blame what they went through as a kid on why they act the way they act as an adult. But it's like you 45 and that's still, your dad being around is something that you use.
Oh, he taking shots at me. Oh, I heard. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It's something that you use to it's something that you use as a scapegoat on why you do and act the way you act.
Mm.
And I hope I don't offend nobody when I say this, because I know people's gonna hear this.
Yeah.
But I think that we I'm gonna say this the way I know how to say it.
Who he says we? What is we?
We as African Americans,
Okay, black people.
black people,
Yeah, yeah.
we need to seek counseling and therapy
Mm,
because we always say, "Oh, I don't need no people telling me what to do, and I don't need to talk to nobody." Yes, you do,
mm,
because you don't. Think about it. You already don't know what to do. It's been you've been in 4 or 5 relationships, and the same problem is you're a sweet person, you're loving, you care, but you can't communicate all because of the hurt that you've been through as a child.
mm.
And you said you don't need therapy, you don't need counseling. Yes, you do, because you
Well,
need it.
well. Let me bring another. I do get what you're saying about black people needing counseling.
But
No, but I think about this. When you say black people needing counseling, there's a couple of different factors that I don't think people take into consideration. One is counseling costs money,
right,
and do majority of black people have the finance to pay for counseling? That's one thing. Two,
right,
um, is the right counselor available to you?
right,
And just like anything else, like when you go into Walmart, there's there's Old Spice, there's Arm& Hammer deodorant, there's all these variations of deodorant, and you have to find the right deodorant to work for you. Is your health care going to cost cover that? There's a lot of different factors in, and then if I need counseling, who do I talk to get it?
right,
Where do I go?
right,
Dude, is my primary care manager, is that the doctor that gets it? Or they gonna give me a 1-800 helpline? And then how do you pay for it? If I don't have the money, I don't have the knowledge, the resources, and all that other type of stuff, how do I get that therapy?
right. I don't, I don't want to go off on the road or go too far into what I'm about to say. But me personally,
Okay.
and I know a lot of black people can vouch for this. When I need that person, I need that thing. I'm a very religious person.
Okay. Hmm.
I personally, me, I go to God.
Okay.
I pray, I write down things, and I do things different. But I also think it's about how you respond as well, what you respond to. Everybody, recommend everybody to go to God because not everybody has a relationship with God, or not everybody's, you know,
Want a relationship with God.
want a relationship or is religious. So I can't force that on you because that's what works for me.
Yeah.
Because what works for me, it's not gonna work for you, and what works for you may not work for me.
Yeah.
Counseling may not work for you. You could just be talking like how we have a simple conversation right now. It could be just be somebody you know that you just want to talk to and pour, everything out to that can help you. And in some form, that's counseling.
Yeah.
It might not be professional counseling,
Hmm.
but it's also on what works for you.
Yeah.
Because you see adults do that day in and day out with bills, payments. They do what works for them. It's the same thing with the mental health and when you trying to describe a relationship or when you trying to, progress, what works for you.
Mm. Yeah. Like, oh, I give you that one. Okay. Okay. I give you that one. I give you that one. Hey, I just wanted to put something out there to see where you go with it. I like that one. Okay. I, got- I ain't gonna push back too much on that one. But basically what you're saying is, yeah, I think what you're pretty much, you know, summing up is that you got to be willing to grow into some type of better version of yourself.
Right,
So if it's spiritual that's gonna help, you can't go into, religion or God saying that I'm gonna ask for God and not really be invested into God.
right,
You can't not go to therapy and not really be invested in therapy. Some people just not.
right.
They always look for something to get out of it. I was just kind of curious of, interesting. I like that one. Mm. I wrote that one down. I wrote that one down. Oh.